So basically, what happened was the second largest exchange in the world, FTX, used customers' funds, right, for their personal piggy bank.
Wow.
Yeah, the media likes to use the word commingling. So they commingled,
The comminglement of
they commingled customers' funds for their personal use. Yeah,
okay.
and then they lost it because they were careless, you know, using those funds to trade. So in the crypto world, there is something called derivatives, right? Futures. So you could trade futures, derivatives on different platforms. So what FTX did, the founder, like every other founders in crypto, he created his own token called FTT, and then
Okay.
you could add liquidity to your token. So let's say you create 1 million FTT tokens. You just mint it. Nowadays, you could use the computer, a few lines of code, and then you have your own currency, your digital currency. So
It's
if
crazy
I
how
want,
easy it is.
yeah, it's very easy. You could do that in 5 minutes. So if I want to create a FTT, or what he did, you mint 1 million tokens. You add liquidity of $50,000. So on against 50,000 of the tokens. So that essentially means your token is worth 1 million from nowhere, right? So that's what happened. And then you say your tokens is worth 1 million, I mean market capitalization, and you leverage, you take those tokens to borrow money. So you borrow Bitcoin, you borrow other assets from your customers on your exchange. And then you use those funds, those real assets like Bitcoin, stable coins, you use them to gamble. So essentially that's what happened. And then he lost it all. Now, in the typical bull market, you could get away with this because things are always going up. The crypto market is always going up, stocks and all that. But in a bear market, you could easily get exposed, like what happened in 2008. The housing market crashed. A lot of banks were exposed because they used too much leverage, people's money. And now, essentially he has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy according to US law, and all the entities involved. So there's so many entities, a very complex company structure, and that's where we are now. Customers can get their funds. Yeah.
When you say it's a complex company structure,
Yeah.
is it really complex? Is it not just him and his girlfriend and a few of the other people that he knows, and he has a few other companies? Is it Almeida Research?
Alameda. Yeah.
Alameda Research,
Yeah.
thank you for the correction.
Yeah.
And so when you're saying it's complex, isn't it just him and a few of his people in
Yeah.
Bahamas somewhere just
Yeah.
working
At the
together,
end
and
of
it
the
just
day,
kind of seems like they're not connected at all?
yeah, if you look at the company or the bankruptcy filing, you will discover that there are about 100 entities connected to FTX. So those 100 entities have different, directors, CEOs, whatever.
Different
Yeah.
directors.
So it's extremely complex how the
Mm-hmm.
relationship is, and
Okay.
it's not simple because most organizations like that tend to go to jurisdictions or countries where they can manipulate their compliance and regulatory laws. So that is why that complex structure has to exist. Beneficial owners, beneficiaries, legal entities, the relationship, limited liabilities. So it's done on purpose so that you can escape accountability.
Okay. Okay. Um, so is it something now that he will face? Is it a criminal offense that he's committed, or is it just a thing where he will just have a few hearings? I think there's a hearing coming up on the 13th
Yeah,
next
the
week.
SEC. Is it the
So,
SEC
and
or the House? Is it the House of?
is the House of, what is it? House of Reps,
Yeah,
I think. So he'll be answering questions. Like he's so I love this guy's confidence.
Yeah.
He goes on Twitter tweeting, "Oh, I'm sorry, I never meant to be this way.
Effed up,
I effed up. I might be able to answer a few questions because they feel like it's needed for me to come out, but I don't really have access to my files." And I'm just thinking the audacity of it all, or is it just me from a layman's perspective?
That
Because I'm thinking of investors. Can you imagine the investors in all of this?
Yeah, that's why I initially said I'm struggling to come up with the adjective to describe this crisis, because there's no incident that has happened like this in crypto before. This is the first. This is like Lehman Brothers. This is like Iran, the Iran bankruptcy. This is like Ponzi, the Ponzi scheme in the 1950s or 1940s. So this is all put together into one person. And it's hard to determine if it's criminal or not, because that's a very good question. It's very hard because first of all, you have to understand what's the terms with the customers. Is there clarity with the terms of use of those funds? I know it's stated in the terms and conditions that customer funds will not be used for trading, right? Now, but what type of trading was this specified? When you bring in smart lawyers into the whole process, especially the bankruptcy, litigation, liquidation lawyers, when you bring them into this picture, it can go anywhere. They could break down those complex terms of use, and start looking for areas within the law, to protect this guy. You say, okay, yes, he said he's not going to trade funds. He's not going to use customer funds for trading. But that's not the type of trading. There are different types of trading, and there are different types. There's margin trading. There is derivatives. There's futures. There's so many. So, yeah,
you're right.
There's loans. We didn't say we can't loan customer funds. So yes, this guy loaned customer funds to Alameda. Alameda is a different company, and Alameda decided to trade with the loans. And it's all part of the service, as described.
But wasn't it also just like sponsoring like events? Like he was sponsoring F1. I think he sponsored the Mercedes team.
Yeah.
And even like politics as well. So the thing about this guy, he's so wise. His name is Sam, right? Because we keep saying this guy. He's so wise that when he had the money, he made sure that he was really helping people, supporting people in the right places, like very, very influential people.
Yeah.
So that even when trouble does come, I'm not saying that he planned for trouble to come, but part of me sort of believes that he planned for trouble to come one way or the other by being in Bahamas, not being in US where he knows that the regulations are quite different. So that's a bit suspicious for me, number one. I don't know about you, but I know you'll be telling us later what we can look out for, investors to look out for when it comes to like the exchange that they might want to, invest in. Anyway, I circle it back because that's quite a lot. But the question is, I feel this guy pre-planned this, like premeditated sort of. So you can't just feel like, I didn't know this was going to happen. So do you feel like it was premeditated, that he knew? I mean, he knew.
It's a good question. A lot of people, crypto Twitter, like they call them CT, they speculate that it was premeditated. But I don't really think it was premeditated.
I think it's just bad luck.
Yeah, it's ill luck, bad timing, in my opinion. This is not official. Okay, this is my opinion. We don't know the facts yet, but this is some badly run business, hoping that nobody is going to find out. It's like a lot of.
Yeah, can I stop you there? I'm just really excited. Yeah, you said hoping that nobody's going to find out, but how did they find out? Wasn't it Binance? Wasn't it CZ that sort of like started the ball rolling in terms of in the wrong direction for FTX?
Yeah, sure. So what happened was the thing that blew the smoke over was that Binance had some shares in FTX, and the only way FTX was able to give Binance these shares was to give them the token. What's about 500 million or so. And recently, the balance statement of FTX came out on a blog, right? Mm-hmm. And it wasn't really FTX; it was Alameda. So their balance sheet was reported in a blog, and the balance sheet just contained only FTT tokens, which is extremely risky. Like, how can majority of your balance sheet be FTT? What about Bitcoin? What about stable coins? That's high risk. They're fully risk on. And he said based on that, he's going to dump the current shares he has with FTT, with FTX, his current allocation of FTT. So with that announcement on Twitter, the CEO of Alameda said, okay, if you're going to dump it, it's going to have a market impact. And if you really want to avoid the market impact of that sale, we will buy it from you at $22, right? At that time, FTT was $26. So why 22? So essentially what the Alameda CEO did was indirectly give out her margin call amount. So when you borrow against an asset, there's something called margin call if you're trading derivatives. If you're using leverage to trade, you could use 10x, 20x leverage. So there's a margin call. There's a point where the price will fall down to and you get liquidated. Your money is gone. So that essentially gave it away, and everybody started dumping their FTT tokens. So that was what initially blew the smoke over,
And but is it like a strategic move for him? Sorry to cut you.
Yeah.
Because was he supposed to do that publicly?
Again, none of this thing is normal. It's not really conventional for the owner of a share to tell everyone, I'm going to sell my shares, right? Because when you say you're going to sell 500 million of a share, it means everyone who is in retail, like the small owners, the regular guys with 10,000, 5,000 volume of those shares, they will naturally want to dump, right? And that's what we call front running in trading, in crypto trading. So they will front run your trade, and that will make the value of your 500 million come down. So why did he make that announcement? Of course, I would think that he really wanted to wreck FTT. That's very smart. That was strategic. Yeah.
Because he's number one, isn't he?
Yeah, of course.
In terms of Binance. Okay.
Sure.
And I think, of course, his name Sam tweeted out saying, "Oh, you won," saying to him that your strategy works. If that was the strategy, if that was the plan, allegedly, that it's worked out.
Yeah, you have to find a way to crush your competitors. Find any loophole.
So what
keep
you're
yourself,
saying, the RealCyberDoctor, is that
keep yourself number one.
You agree, right?
Yeah, I agree. That was a plan. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so now the investors, what is the deal right now? What's the situation? Okay, so are they now able to withdraw money, or is it all frozen? What's the next stage now? What's going on?
So in a bankruptcy proceeding, normally there's a lot of disclosures. First, I think the first stage is disclosure. What is the assets? What's the liability? Who is involved? There's so many data. We don't know that information yet at the moment. So that process probably takes about 6 months to 12 months for full disclosure. Because the complex structure, there was no CFO, there was no proper accounting, there was no proper audit, they said they didn't even have a cybersecurity firm, cybersecurity department.
They could have come to you.
They should have come to me for help, I should have helped them for a small fee.
That's the first step.
They didn't have data protection, they don't have records, so their state is abysmal. is very bad. John Ray the second, he tweeted, I think it was a tweet or it was in the bankruptcy proceeding. He said, never in his life, he has been doing this for years, has he seen such a case of corporate recklessness, by inexperienced lot.
Wow.
In his
And John
entire
Ray,
career. Huh?
is he the new CEO?
Yeah, the litigator, yeah. The guy who is in charge of the bankruptcy.
Okay,
John
but
Ray.
he's not the new CEO of FTX.
He's the CEO.
No, but
Yeah,
really?
yeah.
So can you imagine the CEO actually saying that? The new CEO?
Yeah, it's not you should know that he's not there to carry on the operations of the company. He's there to liquidate the company, essentially.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the goal. The main goal is liquidate the company. But now the first thing is get information, disclose as much as possible. There is no much data to disclose. He's tried. FTX don't even have record of the employees they have. So that guy, the former CEO, they call him Sam Bankman Fried Rice.
Fried you know what? It's funny you say
Or fried chicken.
fried chicken.
Yeah.
You know what? I said the clue was in the name.
Yeah.
Bankman Fried.
Yes, Sam. Yeah, he fried them. He fried them
So
to.
maybe next time they should look at the name first.
He got them burnt. Yeah.
No, okay, jokes apart.
So there's
But
no
yeah.
record. So that would take a long process. Then the second process of the bankruptcy is to find out how they can make majority of people, recover something. So they need to collate the retail investors. I think those are the people they'll prioritize first. So if you have money in FTX, if you have £100 or £1,000, they will try to find a way to give you.
For the investors.
Yeah, before the major guys. Yeah. So that takes another 2-3 years. So if they are lucky, they're gonna get 10 cents on a dollar, 50 cents, that's super luck, but 10 cents mostly if they're lucky. Yeah.
Okay. A bit of a cheeky question. Do you have any FTTs, were you involved? Did you invest?
No, I really, I didn't fancy FTT. I had it for a purpose and I disposed it immediately. Okay. So I think, the exchange listed a token I needed to get, so I think I was on the platform quickly and I got what I needed, exited the platform, I don't keep FTT
So maybe
token.
you had an inkling. That's why we should listen to the RealCyberDoctor. He had a sense that, no, this is not right. Let me leave as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what would be your advice to people, obviously investors, who are now worried, right, about keeping the investments or keeping their crypto in an exchange wallet or something? Sorry, I'm not too familiar with all the terms. But you do the work for us, yeah.
So everybody knows this advice, right? Not your keys, not your crypto. It's an age-long advice, even since the time of Mad Gogs, as they call it. Since 2014, where we had the first crash, and then till 2019, where we had the second major crash in the largest exchange in Canada, Quadriga CX. So everyone has known right from day one, since the exchanges started coming up rapidly.
Well, it's one thing to know, but it's another thing to actually practice it. So that's why it's good for you to reinforce that,
Yeah, but it's difficult for a trader. So, for example, if you trade crypto, like in the bear market, a lot of people find themselves day trading. They get in 10% profit, they get out quickly.
Okay.
They trade margin derivatives. So most of those kind of persons, they tend to keep their money in the exchange because you need to be liquid. Right? You want to be liquid. But for the holders, the hodlers, you want to keep crypto speculatively for a long time, 5-10 years. You need to have self custody. Keep it in a private wallet. Make sure you have the private key. you remember the 12 word mnemonics. It's
Sorry, the
important.
12 what?
The 12 word, your private key is a private key, 12 word mnemonics.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a key. You have to try to remember it. Make sure you memorize that. Or you keep it in a cold storage. There's so many options for that, like Ledger X, Trezor Wallet. Those are very, very good cold storage facilities. Yes, self custody. That's the first thing. But beyond that, right, the grand scheme of advice is you need to know how to do your own research. So most people think that doing your own research is listening to influencers. Like even the great guy that I used to admire,
Oh, is it
what's his
OLeary? Kevin OLeary.
Kevin OLeary, yeah. That guy
Yeah.
disappointed. OLeary disappointed me big time. He said he did his due diligence. He came up and said, I got my people looking into this, and they gave me a good report. Like, what did you look at? That's the first question. When you're doing a due diligence, do you know the corporate structure? How decentralized is the ownership? Right? Who is the beneficial owner of all the entities you're connected to that organization? So recently I was looking at crypto.com. Right? It's another platform like FTX. It's the same model, the same mode of operation. They got a lot of influencers. They have an arena in America, crypto.com arena, in America, named after them. They are huge sponsors of the Qatar World Cup, Yeah, so they got a lot of people, on board this platform. But when you look at it deeply, you will discover that there's so much complexity with their regulatory structure. Okay. Recently, they published that they're going to be doing due diligence, right, and auditing transactions from one account to the other, from one financial entity to the other. So if you send Bitcoin to somebody, they want to know the person's name. If you are receiving Bitcoin from another person, they want you to put the person's name and as much information about that person. And this is under the Cayman Island Monetary Authority, the CIMA. Okay, so this is the level of due diligence we need to do. Which authority are they under? The company is registered in Singapore, crypto.com. But why are they compliant or trying to get compliant with CIMA, the Cayman Island Monetary Authority? Right? They have offices all over the world. They have in UK. They have in, I think, Australia and Asia. Why CIMA? Why the Cayman Island? So those are the kind of questions you ask. And then who is the owner? What's the group company that owns that entity, crypto.com? Because, the dependencies of those kind of ownership structure can affect what happens to the organization, can affect what happens to your funds. Beneath crypto.com, there are other limited liability companies that is connected to it as well. So what's the relationship like? Everything right now is blur. Nobody knows. So it's important you investigate all those kind of things. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this crypto.com that you've just shared.
Yeah.
Right. Are you using them as an example, or the exemplary, or the deterrent? You're trying to deter people from such companies.
It's an example.
Just so that we're clear.
Yeah, I'm not advising for or against. I'm just saying you need to know
the procedures to take before investing in any exchange.
You need to know how to do your due diligence. Start from the companies. Look at, up until now, nobody knew about Alameda Research. Nobody knew about that.
Talk about the celebrity aspect.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you mentioned Kevin OLeary, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes as people that are not, clued up on crypto, you hear, crypto is the big thing and just this and that. When you see a celebrity, especially someone of a high reputation like Kevin OLeary, you think, oh, he's very smart. He's not a Kim Kardashian. Sorry, I can't say her name for the life of me. Kim Kardashian.
Yeah, you can say a name. Yeah.
No, he's not a Kim Kardashian that, maybe clothes or Fashion Nova type of woman. What does she know about crypto? Right? When you see a Kevin, you're like, oh, he's an authority. He knows what he's talking about. He seems intelligent. He's not like a makeup artist or something like that. Yeah. So I don't know. I just maybe want you to highlight a little bit more, or just emphasize a little bit more on why it's important to do your due diligence. I know it's like we're going on and on about it, but I don't know.
So
from my, I don't know.
Very good question. I like the way you're highlighting on the fact that because Kevin OLeary has somewhat of a credibility. Everybody knows him from Shark Tank as this renowned investor. So why can't we rely on people like that, the figures of authority, right? Because you need to follow the money, because this is crypto. Crypto is all about the money. So what's the incentive for Kevin? That's one of the first questions. If you think, so why is Kevin preaching the gospel of FTT? Why did Kim Kardashian post about Ethereum something? I think she went into trouble, had trouble for posting one Ethereum variant of a token, right? And she paid £1 million or so to compensate for that.
Apparently, people are going to sue him as well.
So there's going to be a lot of class action lawsuits. Why? Because many people, sorry to say this, in crypto, they are noobs. They don't know what they are talking about. They don't know what they are doing. Even the so-called influencers, why is this guy talking about this token so passionately? Is he a researcher? Is he a cryptographer? What does he know that I don't know? So follow the money trail. Some influencers will tell you, full disclosure, FTX paid me £1 million to talk about them. So I'm incentivized to talk about them. But otherwise, don't follow those people. Do your own research. Look at the organization. Look at the team. In Silicon Valley, when people want to invest in companies, they invest in people, the team. Sam Bankman Fried Chicken, he had no business running a multi-billion-dollar exchange. He had no business there. Of course.
I don't know. The whole story is just amusing, if not sad. But
of course.
But in the wake of all of this now, do you think the crypto regulation is going to be tightened? Do you think it's going to be, or do you think it should be?
I'm concerned about what they are going to regulate. I don't want them to regulate the technology. I rather you regulate the operations, right? So there's a standard KYC requirements for most companies going into crypto and investing into crypto. You need to know who the investors are, where they are, and all the beneficial ownership and structures and all that. Yes, you can regulate the onboarding process. Before you go into an ICO, initial coin offering, or DEX offering, you need to have a standard process that conforms to law. You need to have insurance. In America, if you're running securities, you have the FDIC insurance. So you're insured. In the UK, the same thing, there's insurance. So do you have insurance to protect your users? So regulate that. Don't come to the protocol level. Don't tell me who I should send transactions with. Don't tell me how, don't regulate innovation. So that's just my concern about the regulatory side of things.
But I think these are all the things that the government are going to use to further regulate it, because it's in their favor. Because right now, I don't think they have quite a control of it. So using all these instances, like, oh, look what happened with this and that, we can help you by regulating it so that you don't have to fall victim, you don't have to lose money. But you're saying you'd rather they regulate the process rather than the entire thing.
Regulate process, audit trails, the same thing that's for example, the standard companies will go through, standard securities Tesla will go through a security prospectus and all that before they list their tokens or their shares. So crypto companies, or which are technology companies, they need to go through that same process, except Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is a commodity, so nobody could regulate Bitcoin. Yeah,
nobody can regulate it.
No, it's beyond. It's beyond that
because
level.
Our economic secretary, he's excited about the regulations. Andrew Griffith.
Yeah, sure.
So he's super excited.
We want regulation, yeah, but not on the tech. Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah. If you can tell us 2 truths about yourself and 1 lie. So in the comment section, we are going to try to find out which one is a lie, because we want to be able to find out how easy is it for our viewers to fall prey. Can you identify a lie from the truth? So tell us 2 truths about yourself and 1 lie. And then in the next episode, you let us know which one was the lie, and we'll see who got it right, who got it wrong.
I'm industry advisor for Brunel University Computer Science Department. I'm an advisor, cybersecurity advisor for Bunchful. Okay. And I own 5 ounces of gold. Yeah.
Okay. I'm guessing that you've made it a little bit too easy to figure out the lie, but it's okay. So in the comment section, let us know which of these 3 you feel like is the lie.